Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of You Are the Masterpiece. And this one is something special, something you do not want to miss. And if this is the first time you're just kind of tuning in and thinking, what is this all about? Hello, and welcome to the world of You Are the Masterpiece podcast, where we are talking about that we don't have to be perfect as long as we are taking the effort and we are the work in progress at the same time as we are the masterpieces. So just welcome to this beautiful zone and just feel yourself at home. And if this is the first time you are seeing me, hello, hello. My name is Irina Portnova, and I call myself Manifestation Star because I teach people how to consciously manifest anything to attract to our life, anything that you want. If I can do it, so can you. And I have this amazing guest today, Melinda Jacobs. Drum roll, Melinda. It's so, it's so awesome to have you with us. And like even behind the scenes when we were just talking, getting on live, and you were like, okay, so what's the like what's the thing, how are we doing it? And I said we're just having fun. This is the prerequisite for all the episodes, just to have fun, just
That should
be
be the
you.
prerequisite for life.
Exactly, right? We want to have more of that. Yes, absolutely. So tell a little bit about yourself to the guests and what are you doing in this world?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Irina, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Melinda Jacobs. I am your transformation guide. I work at the intersection of trauma healing, nervous system safety, and consciousness, helping people remember who they are beyond what they've been through and align with who they're becoming. And so my training is vast. It goes through hypnotherapy and counseling and coaching and addiction therapy. And I'm a Reiki master and a yoga teacher and
Mhm.
between. I consider myself a modern mystic. And what I mean by that is I walk in the world of the quantum realm, that place where manifestation happens, that place where all potentials exist, and in
Mhm.
the spirit realms. So I have one foot deeply, powerfully anchored into the mystical, powerful realm of the unseen. And then I'm have my other foot anchored into what it is to be in this world, in the pain, in the struggle, in the wounding, and in the journey of coming back home to ourselves.
Wow, this is so brilliant and so magically said. I love that. So, yes, so I love that because today we have such a powerful topic. It's all about how do we connect the energy, the manifestation, and the actual physical items, right? And for a lot of people, like we were joking around, we said, okay, we have to like really ingrain in people's minds that everything starts from the energy, right? Before anything comes into the physical world, everything first is created on the energetic plane. And the more people connect with that, the more people start realizing that, hey, I'm a participant, an active creator, whatever we are putting it together, right? Meaning that I want to really, have a good track of what I'm thinking in my head for the most of part of the day, right? And how do I speak and how do I act so I can see what exactly I'm putting out as a result in this world. And yes, agree.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is it feels like lifetimes ago, but years and
Mhm.
years ago, over 20 years ago, I was training and studying to be a massage therapist and a body worker. And I had one of my teachers studied under Ida Rolf. And if you've ever heard of the body work form called Rolfing, like that was the person who
Mhm.
brought that to be.
Mhm.
And I loved that this message came to me so many years ago is energy first. Energy first, energy first. Before there was a chair, there was the thought of a
Mhm.
chair. So nothing can get manifested and brought into form without the energy and the thought first. So I'm
I love that.
in agreement with you.
Yes, absolutely. And let's talk more because, again, money is also energy, right? And a lot of people do not realize it. And we want to say how easy it is for us to connect with that energy to create more of it in our physical realm. So let's just unpack more. What does it mean to have that unwavering trust in unseen? Meantime, we are doing what we're supposed to do, because a lot of people kind of mix it up. They think, okay, if I'm just going to stay sit in the posture of lotus and just meditate and just, like calling in what I want, it just magically is going to appear, right? But this is only one part. And there is another part that people do not put together, right? The other part is like asking yourself right questions, taking the aligned steps in order to really see how it's all playing out.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is that. I know that there is a place where we can get into such an alignment in the quantum field and have instant manifestation, but most of us aren't there, right?
Mhm.
It takes, I think, lifetimes of training to have that level of manifestation. So I like the phrase treat and move your feet. It's like, yes, get into the frequency, get into the energy, get into that feeling state, and then ask yourself, what's the next inspired step? What's the
Mhm.
next thing that will move me from where I am in thought, in action, in habit, from where I am to where I'm going? And I
Mhm.
think that a there's a place where people aren't willing to go, which is into
Mhm.
their shadow. They're not willing
Mhm.
to go into the past, into the trauma, into what did you see growing up? What was mom and dad doing with money that
Mhm.
somehow made an impress on how you think, how you feel, what you believe about money, about your deservability, your worthiness. I grew up I grew up in a Middle Eastern household. My father was Middle Eastern, but
Mhm.
it wasn't actually spoken that he was Middle Eastern. We grew up in the US, but there was this unconscious, I'm less than because I'm a Middle Eastern woman. It was just in
Mhm.
the field. And there
Mhm.
was this sense of I need a man in my life
Mhm.
to provide for me. And I can't even tell, it was never said. It was never said out loud. And yet, for a good part of my adult life, there was that sense of, I can't do it on my own. I need a partner. And it's so
Mhm.
funny how that still creeps in from time to time. And yet, I've been self employed for over 2 decades.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so interesting. And it's great, like, like to go back and start noticing, because when I share my experience, my mom was a chemical engineer back in Ukraine, and
Hmm.
my dad was a mechanical engineer. But my mom was having a higher position. So she was the one who actually making more money. And she used to travel for the business to different, like capitals. Like that time we were all Soviet Union, so she used to go to Moscow, to St. Petersburg, because in the town in Ukraine where I used to live, there was like nothing on the shelves. Like we are talking literally, we can go to the toy store, there is nothing there, right? So like the shelves were empty. But I never felt lack because my mom was traveling to these, big capitals, and she usually managed to bring something. Like she always dressed me up great. I always had beautiful shoes, and I was taking it as given. I was never like bragging about it, and I wasn't like, thinking about that it's very poor around. I was like, okay, money is there. That was my interpretation of money. And never ever we were talking about money, right? In the, in the household, because my mom just make it this way, right? She made it very easy for us to just receive what we can. And that's why I was growing up that money is there coming as an immigrant to this country. Like I was sharing about it, me and my ex-husband, we had the entire wedding on credit cards. Like who the heck is doing that, right? And
Wow.
because we had that mentality that, no matter what, we are going to work and we are going to pay off everything. And that is something that I was just bringing it, like from one place to another. When I was in the corporate world, when I was changing careers, I was like constantly, I'm not staying more than 2 years because there is no money growth in there. Let me go to another position. Let me go. And that's, like a trust that the universe is always on our side. Even starting this business, like, I had to take money from my 401k. I had to like clean up our, savings and everything. That was like a part of the reason why, like we got divorced. But the idea is that, like, because I had this unwavering trust that things are going to work out for me, and they are, because now I'm living that. And now I see that money is always there if we align our thoughts with our actions so that we can see the results.
See, what I love about what you just shared is you were blessed to be in the energy, in the thought of abundance. You grew
Mm-hmm.
up in that energy, in that field of abundance.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the field of lack. And
Mm-hmm.
it was always mom was hiding the bills from my dad and didn't want my dad to see the bills, which was so weird. There was
Mm-hmm.
notices that the lights, the electricity was going to get turned off. And it's not because we didn't have money. My
Mm-hmm.
dad was very private about it, and he was secretly investing. And so when he passed, all this money started rolling in, and my mother was so angry about it
Mm-hmm.
that she spent it all and then some. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think it's so interesting how impactful the energy, the thoughts, the beliefs, the vibes that we're growing up in can carry us forward. I've since done a lot of my own personal work around my beliefs about my
Mm-hmm.
relationship with money, recognizing, like you said, it is energy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's some work. And that's a lot of what I do with my own personal clients. I love doing money issues with clients. It's so fun.
Yes.
As a hypnotherapist, one of my many hats, we can go into the subconscious and we can do clearing around those limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs, so that they can more easily get into the place you're talking about, which is to
Mm-hmm.
just rest into the knowing, into the trust, into the faith that the universe is showing up. But not all of us were so blessed as you to grow up with a truthful knowing that you're just always going to be provided for.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Such a great topic. And we are going to continue our discussion after this short commercial. Just stay tuned. All right. And you are watching this beautiful You Are the Masterpiece podcast, brought to you by Life Ballet Coaching. Yes, it's all about manifestation, and it's all about let's create something powerful from our thoughts. And I'm here with my guest, Melinda Jacobs, and we are having this powerful conversation about how do we combine energy and strategy in order to create more money and have that trust that the universe always rewards us.
Yes.
All right, so let's continue where we left off. So tell a little bit more about, like what kind of problems your clients are coming to you with related to money, and how do you actually help them?
It's a great question. So as far as a lot of my clients have already done a lot of self-awareness. They've done a lot of therapy. They've maybe even ventured into the realms like Dr. Joe Dispenza, where they're meditating and manifesting, but they keep running into blocks. And so that's the person that generally shows up on my doorstep. It's like, I know how this works. I'm not getting the results I need. I'm not getting the results I want. And so I will sit and help people really with a gentle, compassionate eye, gently look into the shadowy parts of their past, of their belief systems, and start bringing light to places where maybe there wasn't that known sense of I'm being cared for, I'm being taken care of. Maybe there's a belief that even though I know I'm worthy, I don't know that I'm worthy, right? There's a huge difference from this 12-inch from going from our minds to our hearts. And so one of the things that I do is a process called cellular release therapy. And it's a powerful hypnotherapeutic tool to help people access subconscious material, because here's what we know consciously about our money issues and what's keeping us from really manifesting the abundance we know we can. And then here's everything in our subconscious, right? We know only 4 to 8% of the total data that's held in our cellular memory, right? And within our cellular memory is our own life experiences. So if we've been betrayed, if we've been hurt financially, if we've struggled, if we just never got the right breaks, whatever that was, if we lost a lot of money, all those events are held in our cellular memory. But we also hold cellular memory of our ancestors and our families. We hold and we are connected to the collective. So right now, the collective is screaming, prices are raising and nobody can afford anything. And every time I hear that, I say, not me. I absolutely afford everything, because we're being bombarded with information right now that says and is screaming financial disaster. But isn't it interesting that even in the midst of the greatest financial collapses, some made a lot of money.
Totally. I just love what you're sharing. I love what you're sharing. I just want to pause for a second because something is coming through me. And I just wanted to share because I love everything what you are saying, Melinda. And what came to me, it's like, like when I'm working with the clients and they are saying, okay, I work mostly with the coaches and they say, okay, nobody is buying. There is nobody in the market. And I say, nobody, do you mean like not a single person? If that was true, that would apply to everybody who is successfully selling, right? So idea is a lot of times we love to generalize things like not anybody, or like nobody, or everybody is struggling. And it's not true, because everybody is living in their own reality, and we all can up level our reality starting from our mindset.
Yeah. Can I share a story with you?
Absolutely. Yes. Go for it.
This is my favorite story about manifesting. So through a series of circumstances, I needed to sell my house. And it was at the bottom of the housing market. And this is when everybody was flipped upside down. And, they were just all the bank things that were happening. When was that? 2016, something like that. I don't even remember. Way back. And I had to sell my house, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna lose a lot." I'm like, "Why?" It's like, "Well, the housing market." I'm like, "I don't want to hear about the housing market. I don't care what's going on in the housing market. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to sell my house for full value to a family in 6 weeks, from listing to closing, 6 weeks." And everybody's like, "That's not possible." And the first real estate agent that I was interviewing said, "That's not possible." And I said, "Well, you're fired. I'm not going to work with you. If you can't know possibility with me, then goodbye."
I love that.
The second real estate agent that I talked to, I started the conversation with, "Okay, so here's how the first one went with the first agent. And I'm just letting you know that if you can't get on board with this idea, I'm not going to work with you." And they hesitantly said, "Okay." And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my inner work and I'm doing my energetic stuff. And 6 weeks later, full asking price at the bottom of the housing market, my real estate agent turned to me and said, "You need to tell me how you did that."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy in to the collective idea that you can't sell a house and you can't sell it for full price and you can't sell it in 6 weeks, because I'm like, that's BS. Like, that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a beautiful story. Melinda, you should have offered your coaching services to the entire real estate team. And that's
I
and
have a number of real estate agents. I'm like, hey, if you have clients who are really struggling with their finances, send them my way because I will get them
yeah.
aligned.
Absolutely. It's like whoever is tuning in, like a lot of times people just, like completely unsubscribe themselves saying, "Oh, coaching is not for me. Mindset is not what I need." Like I had a client who, like nobody in his area was doing the mindset work, no self development. So people were telling him, "Oh, coaching is for somebody who just doesn't know how to think positive or doesn't know how to motivate themselves." And this is actually the myth and misconception, because coaching is for every single person on this planet, including us.
Do you know the secret of really wealthy people?
Hmm.
They have multiple coaches. They don't have
So
coaches for
totally,
just one aspect.
totally.
Like, they have a health coach, they have a business coach, they have a spiritual coach. Like, they resource themselves because there's this
Hmm.
understanding that I don't fully see myself, and I'm going to ask someone else to come in who's objective to show me my blind spots. They are willing to be coached. They're willing to have
Hmm.
someone say, "I see a blind spot." I'm working with a
Mhm.
client right now who wants to leave, wants to live large and, work from like the highest echelon. And it has been so fun working with this individual and watching the opportunities come in that are just completely in alignment with, I want to make more money, I want to live a life of wealth, I want to leave a legacy for my family. And he's doing it because of
Mhm.
the coaching and the work he's
Absolutely.
doing. Like, I don't want to take all the credit, but I see how the coaching is definitely aligning for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is another thing that I wanted to say. We were not meant to do this work alone. Nobody did, because we do not see our blind spots. We can be the experts coaching others, but we still require somebody to look at our life and give us, right, all these pieces together. And it's so interesting because, again, it's the ability to hold the energy for somebody else
Mhm.
so they can actually tap to the frequency where everything already happened for them.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. So, give a little bit more of the examples when something from energetic showed up in your real life, like we knew about the house that you just described. Anything else related to money?
Yeah.
Because for me, right, I also had a couple of stories, because I started to like really track in my income, because before it was like, okay, money just coming, and I didn't even register, because I was always in that busy zone, that like the importance of celebrating, right? Because for the universe there is no difference between $1 or $1,000,000, right?
Right.
As long as you can show it with your feelings,
Mhm.
that you are super excited, you're like just absolutely having that kid like energy and fun, right? The universe is going to deliver more of it. So for me, the biggest like opportunity was just pause from your business and
Mhm.
start celebrating every income that you see that is coming, right? Whether this is coming from my affiliates, whether this is coming from my coaching, whether this is coming from another sources.
Right. Or a friend just inviting you out to lunch. Like, that's
Yes.
abundance, recognizing the abundance
Mhm.
that's pouring in. So I have another story about money.
Tell
This
me.
this one's a
Right.
little personal, and it just relatively recently happened. So I've been meditating and studying with Dr. Joe Dispenza for a very long time now. And
Mhm.
so I really know you energy first, get into alignment. There is an infinite field of potential that we can tap into. And all we have to do is align to the frequency that we want to bring into our life. And boom, there it is. I got it. And I've been working on abundance and abundance and abundance for a while. And there was this fear of scarcity that still lingers in the back of my mind and sometimes at the front of my mind. And my mother had passed a little over a year ago, and there was a big chunk of money. I mean, not big, it was a chunk of money. And it was to be divided evenly between me and my brothers. And I was the caregiver for my mother. I was handling her finances. So that chunk was in my name. And when I looked at that money, there was a sense of, oh, look, I've got a chunk of money in my bank account. That's awesome. And there was this little niggling voice that's like, yeah, but that's not all yours. I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
And through a series of conversations, my older brother said he needed some improvements on his home. And I said, well, just remember, I have this money for mom. He's like, well, how much is it?
Mhm.
And I wasn't honest.
Mhm.
And his response is like, that's it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm caught. I'm caught. And so I'm like, well, here's some reasons why that happened. But the moment and the opportunity, the door that opened for me was to step into alignment with my values. My highest value is integrity. And I was
Mhm.
out of integrity. And so
Mhm.
I took a deep breath, sobbed a lot, shook a lot,
Mhm.
and I went through all the statements on that account, divvied it up, created a nice little spreadsheet, and I got really honest and I said, here it is. Here's what you're actually owed. And here's why I didn't, why I wasn't
Mhm.
fully transparent. And I was just terrified he was going to say, you're just like mom,
Mhm.
irresponsible with money. And she was. And he said, thank you.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, wow.
so beautiful.
And he said, now we should share it with our other brother. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that. My hoard, my miserliness, my lack mentality was still kind of clutching. And
Mhm.
I said, okay. And so what I had to do is I had to let go of all that. That was my cushion. I had to let
Mhm.
go of this perceived sense of safety because of this money that was in the bank. And I had to move that to my trust in the universe, to my trust in God.
Mhm.
And so I
Mhm.
had to really deepen into faith. So I took a deep breath, kissed all the money goodbye, and said, well, I'm going to trust that the universe is going to take care of me. And I sent it off to my brothers, to both of them. I sent this spreadsheet with an ask. I said, hey, I spent 7 years caring for our mother. It really had a big impact on my business. If you would consider gifting me something to help me just kind of rebuild where things have been and just kind of get me back on my feet, that would be really great. It's just a simple ask. And within that one ask between the two brothers and 3 clients that bought packages, $74,000 flushed into my world within about
Yes.
30 minutes.
I love that, right? You cannot make up these things, right?
And
You just have to live and trust. And thank you so much, Melinda, for sharing this beautiful story,
you're
because
welcome.
it just, like it shows our human nature that we are not perfect. We are also learning and growing. And trust me, I'm also have a lot of work to do with myself, but it just like be willing to do it, be open for that, and just, like just live what you teach.
Right. And I think that's the hardest part is to, the title of this talk, pay the bill, trust the universe. That
Mhm.
leap of faith is
Yeah.
a terrifying thing. But when the net appears and you get caught, it was like, oh, And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, it's like, where else am I out of alignment? Where else am I holding that kind of restrictive lack consciousness? And where
Mhm.
else can I get into that place of I am so profoundly taken care of? And my nature is to live abundantly.
Mhm. I love what you say. And just on the topic of the bills, this is exactly what a great way for somebody to shift the perception. You know, a lot of times when people are paying for electricity or for the heating, especially right now in the winter time, they start
Yes.
complaining, "Oh, look at this bill." So I always teach everybody and reminding myself each time I'm paying this bill, I'm just going to bless that I have that water. I'm just going to bless that I have that heat during this, like winter storm. I'm just going to bless that I have AC, because for me, comfort is everything. If I do not feel comfortable, I cannot function. I cannot do what I have to do. So just think about it, like when we are actually paying for the services, rather than focusing on how large the amount is, focus on the actual comfort that we are receiving for
Right.
having these services. And also, like I said, stay in the sense of gratitude, because the more we are staying on the frequency of gratitude, it's the same frequency as abundance. The more we are going to attract great things to ourselves.
That's right. Gratitude is such a powerful thing, and people just really miss it. They really poo-poo it. They're so dismissive of it. But when you are in that state of gratitude, especially before it's shown up, that's the alignment. That's the trust. That's the faith. When you can just stand in that place of, I am so grateful that my bills are getting covered this month. I don't know how. I just know they are. Just in that
Mhm,
knowing that the universe is providing in just magical ways. It's
mhm,
it can be challenging, and it's a practice. And like you said, making note of all the little ways that the universe is providing. I love when I get surprised by someone saying, "Hey, I just wanted to take you out for a meal." And I'm like, and inside I'm like, "Ah, free." I
Yes.
love that. Thank you, universe. And it
Yeah.
and I do go to thank you, universe, because the person is not the source. My practice, my clients is not my source of supply. The
Mhm.
universe, God, whatever
Yes.
you call that thing.
I love that. I love that. And it's all about our awareness, and it's all about practicing, right? Because again, a lot of people might heard about the gratitude, might even practice a little bit, but it's all being consistent. Like I always say, we take showers every day. It doesn't mean that today I'm taking a shower and then I'm not going to wash my body for the full week, right? So the same thing, right? Just get into the habit. This is part of your being, this is
Mhm.
part of who you are. And the more you are staying in that gratitude, the more you focus your mind, right? Because a lot of times people are focusing on lack, and it's not even the people's fault, because that's exactly how, like you were saying, collective is acting. That's what they hear in the news, that's what they hear talking to their partners, to their parents, to everybody around, right? But it's time where you could just like click on pause and say, is this really true, or I'm just a part of everybody's common thinking?
Mhm.
And what can I do about it right now at this moment? Can I actually shift my focus and change from not enough to more than enough, right?
That's that's right. Yeah. As you were talking, what comes to mind is it's an older movie that Will Smith starred in called The Pursuit of Happiness. And it
Mm-hmm.
was one man's journey to become a stockbroker, and actually a very influential, wealthy stockbroker. And the one thing that I think stood out for me, as if it was just like this big, huge blinking sign, is he never spoke of his lack. He never told anybody that he and his son were sleeping in a bathroom at night, a public bathroom, and locked the door. He never told the person who needed a cab fare that that was his last $5. He
Mhm.
never spoke of his lack, and he was so focused on, this is who I am, this is what I'm becoming, these are the steps to get from here to there. And he, I mean, at least the way the movie portrays it, is he never lost that focus. I think
Mhm.
that is a powerful message, especially if someone is in that place of struggle, is to stay focused on the gratitude, stay focused on where you're headed, what's the next step. Recognize the truth of our being is that we are abundant, and to not let our current circumstances derail us from what we're focused on.
I love that. And again, it's easy said than done. So that's why we are here. If you feel that you want to connect with one of us, just, feel free, DM us, just connect with us, because again, we were never meant to do this alone. We do want to have somebody by our side. We do want to have that accountability. We do want to have somebody who can share the tools, who can share the principles, because it's a process, right?
Right.
Nothing is happening overnight, but you'll see the huge, huge difference and huge results in your life if you keep doing it and doing it consistently. And that's exactly what create the magnificent results, where you tap to that abundance and where you can live truly to the life that you want to live.
I
And yes, and I remember you wanted to share. Yes, thank you. And I remember you wanted to share the quote, right? Before we
oh,
jump on the live, you said, "Oh, I want to share that quote."
right.
Yes.
I do. And what's funny is I spilled my tea on it. So I will share this. So I won't show it to you, but um, I definitely keep within my view things that align me to what I'm becoming, to where I'm going. And so I created this beautiful symbol uh, from uh, that to me speaks abundance. And Neville Goddard is an older New Thought teacher from what, the 1920s, 30s, 40s,
Mhm.
something like that. And I know they're AI, but I love listening to the Neville Goddard YouTube clips. They're just powerful, and this was one of them. And so I printed it, and I have it up on my wall. I'll have to reprint it because now it's wet with tea. It is done. I have the money now. It's in my bank account. I love looking at it. I love spending it. I love saving it. I love investing it. It is done. I have the money now. It is done. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am wise. It is done. Money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. It is done. I am in a swelled river of wealth. All wealth is flowing to me now. It is done. It is done. It is
It's
done.
done. I love that. And so
That's
it
so
is. I was
good.
just having the goosebumps as you were reading. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That's
I
how
love
powerful
that
it
part.
is, right?
It's so powerful.
Yes. So, Melinda, anything else you want to give, any advice to the audience that is tuning in to listening? What is something you want to give them as like an anchor?
I really want people to remember it's okay to feel scared. It's
Mhm.
okay to feel lack. It's okay to recognize maybe some impulsive spending or some behaviors that aren't supporting your abundance and your wealth. It's okay. I see people get really, really agitated and anxious about, oh my God, I just had a lack thought. Oh no, I ruined everything. It's like, come on now. Let's relax. And I loved how you started this, Irina, is it's fun. It's fun to
Mhm.
create. It's fun to manifest. So when
Mhm.
we can remember the truth of our being, we're abundant. We live in an abundant universe. We're cared for. And when we can get playful and joyful about it, and when we can meet those places in ourselves with kindness, compassion, and understanding, it makes this journey a whole lot easier.
Absolutely love that. Such a beautiful message, and super excited that you showed up today. And I would be excited to see you on future episode with another topic that we can talk and dive in. And for everybody, for the listeners, you have the links. Just reach out to Melinda, and just like stay, listen to the episode, and not only listen but do something with your life, because information does not equal transformation. We have to do the do, right? I'm always saying I love to watch the figure skating, but just by watching it I will never be good at it. So you gotta do the do, you gotta do the work, and that's exactly what we are doing in coaching. And for anybody who is ready for that, just reach out and let's have the magic happen, so you can tap to that energy and you can create that abundance for yourself and for your family, for your loved one, and for generations to come. Thank you so much, Melinda. That was super, super beautiful. And for everybody, we want you to comment and also share that episode. If you feel that this episode was helpful, please share with somebody else, because sharing is caring. And we will see you next week. Thank you, Melinda. Bye.
Thank